Hey friends, so I am back in the kitchen and I am going to be making some beef stroganoff as well as some egg noodles, and I'm going to make a side dish which will be some green beans. Everything that I am making will take at least an hour to get completely cooked, and I have the instructions to all of this on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. So to get started, you're going to get some beef stew meat. So this is basically like chuck roast, and you will see it like in a package, and it's like cut up into like cubes. So that's what I'm using here. I have about 4 pounds of beef stew meat, and what I've done is just sliced it so that it's in smaller bites when it's cooking. Now, with the beef stew meat, what I normally would have done, which is what I did today, is I had this meat in the freezer because like I buy in bulk when I go to Sam's Club. So I don't let that meat completely thaw out. I let it be like kind of like half frozen. And that makes it so much easier when you're slicing the meat into like smaller sizes. So that's what I've done here, and I've gotten some seasonings. I have like my all-purpose seasonings. I have some thyme, and the 2 all-purpose seasonings that you saw in there, you can use any kind that you have a preference to, but use a nice all-purpose seasoning as well as some thyme. And then you're going to add some Worcestershire sauce, or the W sauce. I know I just jacked up that that sauce name, but you want to add some W sauce too, and that's about 3 tablespoons that I'm adding in here. So the next thing you're going to do is just like mix all of that up with your hands. I am using like some gloves, so that's just going to make the process a little bit easier. And on the side, I have a large pan that I've had heated up while I was mixing all that together, and I'm adding some olive oil to it, and then I'm just going to add that meat in there, and that's going to sear. And then after searing, I'm just going to add a top on there, and I'm going to let that simmer for about 1 hour, and that's just basically just to make that meat nice and tender. So while it's cooking, I'm going to start off by getting some diced green peppers together. So I'm not really good when it comes down to dicing up vegetables, so I like to use my food processor, but I do cut the green peppers into chunks first, and I'm just going to get all the nice good parts of that green pepper together. I actually had cut this green pepper up before and used it for another recipe, and I stored it in the refrigerator, so I'm using the other half of that green pepper. So yeah, so you're basically just going to dice this. I'm just getting, like I said, getting the good parts together, and then I'm going to put that in my food processor so that it can dice a little bit better. And one of the things I've noticed with my food processor, for some reason, like when I add the green peppers in there, anytime that I'm like using it to dice, for some reason it adds like this extra like green pepper juice or frothiness to it. So sometimes what I'll do is just add that into a colander and then just like get that extra quote unquote green pepper juice. So the next step that I'm going to do is add in some minced garlic. So that's about like 1 to 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. I'm a big fan of garlic. Some people don't like garlic, but I do. If you liked onions, you can also add some onions to this too, but my husband's not an onion fan, so I didn't add any onions in there, but you can do that. So there's the green peppers that I'm adding in there, and so I'm just going to stir it up and continue to let this simmer. So I didn't add the minced garlic and the green peppers at the beginning because I just wanted more of that flavor to be in it towards the end, and I didn't want it to be like too wilty. So yeah, so I waited approximately like 40 minutes before I added those veggies in. And I'm adding 2 cans of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. So you can add any of the varieties of cream of mushroom soups that Campbell's have out there. They have plenty. So, I showed you the 2 that's there. I've also used like cream of celery sometimes, if you want to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, so as long as it's like a creamy soup, you just want to add in there. And the next thing that you're going to do is use one of those cans, and you're going to pour some milk in there, and you're going to pour that milk into this pan. So basically it's just 1 can of milk that you're going to add in there, and that's just to help give it that creamy texture to the gravy that you're making. Another thing that you want to do is, like, once you get all this mixed up, you want to taste it to see if it has enough flavoring. So for me, when I was stirring and I decided to taste it, I was like, oh man, I feel like this needs a little bit more salt, but I didn't want to actually pour any salt in there because I was afraid it was going to be too salty. So what I did was just get 1 teaspoon of beef base. So that's like a beef bouillon. And I added that to the mixture, and that gave it the flavor that I needed, you know, to have extra salt in there. Plus it also has the beef flavor too. So if that happens to you, you can use like a beef bouillon or beef base to get that more salt flavor to that. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, I let this simmer for about an hour, and this is the total cooking time is about an hour. And I'm adding some parsley flakes on there, so just to make it a little pretty. And yeah, that's it. That is the beef stroganoff. It's a nice, simple, and easy recipe. Now, what I'm gonna also do is make some egg noodles. So I'm gonna get some water boiling on the side, and while that's happening, I'm going to be making my green beans. So with the green beans, I'm using like these organic green beans that I got from Sam's Club. You can get any flavor or a brand that you want. So while this is on like a medium heat, I've added some olive oil as well as some butter. And the next thing I'm going to do is rinse off those green beans. So I didn't do that on camera, but I did rinse off the green beans because they're sitting in the package. And I'm like, I don't know how long they've been sitting there. I mean, it's not past the best date that they have on there, so it was good, but I just want to make sure they're clean, so I rinsed them off. Oh yeah, I've also added some minced garlic in here because again, I like garlic. And there's the green beans. So I'm going to stir this up and just let it sear, not a lot, but you know, just give it like a nice little brownness to it. And I'm going to add a top on there so that it steams and the green beans are done. So it's going to be very crispy, but also tender at the same time, if you understand that. Now, this is a seasoning that I had got from a farmer's market, and I'm going to see if they have a website, and I'll put that in the video description. You really want to get any type of like seasonings that has like salt, pepper, garlic powder, some rosemary, things of that nature, maybe some Italian seasoning, you know, something like that. And that's what you want to add to the green beans. If you don't have like one all-purpose seasoning, of course you can add all of those seasonings I just named onto the green beans. Now I had some bacon that was left over from breakfast, so I chopped that up and added that to the pan too. So again, just stirring, and I'm going to add a top on here and let that steam up for like about 5 minutes, and the green beans are going to be done. So as that's happening, my water's boiling in the other the other pot, and I've added my egg noodles. Now with beef stroganoff, you can use egg noodles or you can use rice. Heck, you can even use some mashed potatoes. It's really up to you, but the hubby was in the mood for some egg noodles, so that's what I made with this beef stroganoff. And I'm topping my green beans with some red pepper flakes, some crushed red pepper flakes, and that was done. So that total cooking time for that was probably about 10 minutes. Now, we only have one more thing to cook in this meal, and that was the egg noodles. So that's been boiling. Now, I have these pots where you can put a top on it and you can just drain it. So that's what I've done. I'm putting the top on there, and I am going to drain the egg noodles from there. If you have a colander, you can do that. Just pour your noodles right into the colander, and that will drain your noodles. Any type of water that's left in there, that will steam off because the pot is so hot. So what I've done is after I drained it, I've added some parsley on top of there just to make it a little pretty. More for presentation's sake. But yeah, that is all I have cooked in the kitchen today. So yeah, this was a very super easy meal to make. And again, the full recipe for that beef stroganoff is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. And I'll include the recipe link in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, shout out to everyone who subscribed to my channel or are following me on those social media platforms. Thank you so much for coming back and cooking with me again. If you are new here, my name is Angela, and this is my account, Plus Size in Chicago, where I make a lot of easy-to-cook comfort food meals. You'll also see me reviewing different restaurants in the greater Chicagoland area. or showing you places I've ate and visited while on vacation. Be sure to subscribe or follow me. Also leave a comment and share this video with your friends and family. I'll see you guys next time.